Okay, I'm gonna go. This is just a concept, I kind of figured it out. As you know, we have a disproportionate of minority males that come in. A lot of Black and Hispanic, Latino males come in. We do have a fair amount of Asian men that come in, but they're disproportionately immigrants, and so they're like, okay, what are the ground rules in America? Kind of culture shock. But we're gonna focus on if you were born and raised in America, probably minority race, but not exclusively. This is just if you're poor. So I had a client, he he's Latino, and he asked me some questions where it's painfully obvious he didn't have a father. And I answered his questions, and he had some follow up questions, which is fine. That's all right. But it showed he had no really simple and logical common sense, but he wasn't stupid. He wrote and used paragraphs, using the paragraph test as a thing. And then I start getting upset, and I'm like, "Dude, you don't know the answer to these questions?" I didn't ask him this. I'm like, "How? What?" And I was thinking, "Does he get? Why is something so common sense or so obviously has a correct answer? Yes, you should do that. No, you shouldn't do that." But then he's confused, and I realized, okay, not having the dad is around is one thing, but to have something that a very should be very easily deduced as to what the correct course of action is, you had to be propagandized, lied to, shielded, coddled, something, so you never learned anything. And especially as it pertains to minority men, but also poor guys, because you're also a part of a class, the disadvantage. Oh, you're not one of the 2%. We're not all as rich as Jeff Bezos. Oh, the oppressions. And generally speaking, so just generally speaking, we don't have to go into a lot of detail, but don't believe liberal white women, okay? Now, don't believe liberals in general, but let me explain to you where the liberal white women, you're going to disproportionately run into them. Where? Where did I run into them? Where did you run? Where did every guy run into them? You ran into them at school, didn't you? Now, maybe politics as well, all right? Maybe she wasn't white. Maybe it was a black female, right? Maybe, again, it's liberal in general. It could have been a Hispanic dude, an Asian guy. What doesn't matter, but the stereotype is the liberal white women. They want to help you, so they just so want to help you. And instead of helping you, the only reason I have any success here is because you guys are sick of being poor. You're sick of like, God, nothing works at life. And you're ready to hear the truth. And the truth is, it's hard if you've never heard it before. Actually, not that hard. It's not that. But that's how I make the profit. That's how I make. That's why there's a market. Because you guys are in pain, and the reason you're in pain is you were lied to. And you got to understand this about the liberal white women. Although asterisk any liberal, they so don't care about you. They don't care about you. What they care about is avoiding a real job. And if you don't believe me, look at every one of your peer group, male or female, of your age, and what they're going to do for a living. How many are going into engineering? How many going into nuclear physics? How many are going into dental school? How many going into doctors? How many going in the military? How many going into accounting? None. What are they all doing? They're all going to save the world. Why? Because saving the world, or the children, or the minorities, or the black men, or the Hispanics, or the Latino, or the Asians, right? It doesn't take a lot of work. And you know what? Not does it take not a lot of work. They have absolutely no fucking intention of solving your problem. For two reasons. One, they're not capable of it. And two, if they solve the problems, what would they need? What would you need them for anymore? Isn't it odd that, like, after the Great Society's been going on for damn well near approaching, it's coming up on 60 years. Isn't it amazing how, like, there really hasn't been a closure in any of the life expectancy gaps, wage gaps, wealth gaps? I mean, everyone has improved generally because technology has advanced all of us. But if you use whites, or I'd say use Asians as a baseline, because you would probably want to be, if you want to aim for something, aim for Asian standards of living. I don't know why you're going for number two. I mean, that gap has maintained itself or widened. Why? Because the liberal white women never wanted to do the hard work of telling you the truth and being the tough ass drill instructor or father you didn't have but desperately needed. And all they know is how to grab other people's money, give it to you, minus an 80% cut for them and their nonprofits and government agency masters and the social work friends with their pensions and their insurances. You might get a nickel out of every dollar. Right? They do it so they could feel good about themselves and avoid a real fucking job. And it's not hard. I'll give you this. I've told the secret to poverty before. Don't have kids you can't afford. If you'd like to avoid that, get a vasectomy. That's one thing you can look into. There's pros and cons. Look into it before you do it. Don't major in stupid shit. What was the other one? And don't commit crime. That was it, which is a derivation of, I believe it was either Thomas Sowell or somebody else said, finish high school, work a full-time job, and then have kids only after you get married. That's not good enough. You got to get a good, don't major in stupid shit. I'd add, join the military, get the GI Bill. And you tell me what's going to get you out of poverty quicker. You tell me what's going to make it so you're like, oh, well, I don't need cap anymore. He taught me independent thought. Yeah, that makes sense. I shouldn't do that. But I was wondering, but they told me whatever. It was the white man. Oh, the racisms. Oh, the discriminations. Like, you don't have the time and resources to fall for that liberal white women bullshit. You got very little money. You come from a broken home. You got an entire culture set against you to paint you as a victim so that it puts you into apathy and hopelessness, and then you don't work at it. And then you wait for the liberal white woman to come in. Oh, I help you. Oh, I feel so good about myself. I so gave other people's money to them and took 95% for myself. And all I'm asking is like, they're still poor. You didn't do jack fuck all shit. And so when I'm asking for the young, because it's too, people who listen to Jesse Jackson are fucked. Anyone who followed Jesse Jackson's advice is just as fucked as any woman that followed Oprah's advice on her dating life. All right. They're all fucked and they're all old and it's all old for them. You guys are young. All right. And you can even still believe the liberal white woman and the poppycock bullshit, but could you just major in the right thing? No, if it doesn't make sense, then it's wrong. I don't care what everybody else says, it's wrong. No, I'm trying to think of what, because the questions he had were so, I'm like, what? Like, yeah, man. And this poor kid here's another thing, okay? His consultation, and you could see it, it's public. Didn't mention his name or anything. His main problem wasn't even like he had a lack of work ethic or he didn't even make bad decisions. He's in California. And the original consultation, I mean, I'm like, look, you're trying to change these variables. That's not your problem. The problem is you live in California, which is a Marxist leftist shithole headed up by liberal white women. Probably the queen bitch of them all, Nancy Pelosi. I'm sorry, did you marry into wealth and suck dick like she did? You did it. I wonder if her policies will work for you. And I said, look, kid, you got to get out of California. There's no real jobs. The cost of living is way too high. Crime wasn't even an issue, I don't think, where this kid lives. And he's trying to just get by. But the regulations, like he wanted to work as a security guard. Well, you got to pay to get a fee. Oh, you got to pay, huh? You got to pay to work as a security guard. We can't just do a criminal background check. You're in good shape. We got some reference. No, you need to take training and you need to pay a fee. Do you think maybe that fee is cost prohibitive to people to get, poor people? And then he comes back to me like, well, what about this? And what about this? I'm like, leave fucking California. It's like you got a fat, abusive wife with AIDS and herpes. And you're like, well, if we got treatment, if we did that, and maybe she'll hit me. Leave your fucking wife. And I'm thinking the only way you could get there, kind of like someone who's an abusive or an indoctrinator, is you're indoctrinated. You didn't get the right, you don't have an outside source saying you got to get out of this. Is a toxic environment that you're in. Well, although California be way more toxic environment than the fat herpes wife who's abusive. So, so here's the thing, guys. No matter what your race, but more if you're poor, that's the real thing. Stop listening to the liberal white woman, whether that's a teacher, whether that's a social worker, whether that's your therapist at the school, I mean, whether it's your professor, whether it's a white woman or not. I mean, if it sounds like some a liberal white woman, if it sounds like some Karen would say that, don't listen to it. Matter of fact, you almost take the opposite advice. And if you need help, by God, there's so much resources on the internet. We got everyone here on the red pill. Obviously, I handle more the economics, political, education side. If you want to meet up with the girls, I got a little bit, but that's maybe more Troy Francis and Rollo Tomasi's jurisdiction. But they got you. They got a monopoly on the information you get. They got a captive audience with you guys because they're front and center in those public schools. They're front and center over in the pre-K. They're front and center when it comes to the social work. Have they solved one? Name me one liberal white woman that got anybody out of poverty. None. Not a single one. I have. I got at least a couple thousand people out. That's not a brag. It's just like liberal white women, liberal people in general are so piss poor at getting people out of poverty. It ain't that hard of a hurdle to jump. Communists, boy, they never got anyone out of poverty. They just killed everyone. So I'm not saying you got to listen to the angry white man on the podcast. I guess I'm dressed like Steve Jobs. You don't have to listen to him, but for God's sake, how about this? If you say, hang on, wait a second, something ain't right. If you're like, that doesn't make sense, you're like, shouldn't I do? Yeah, chances are you should, but you're in such an inculcated environment. I don't mean like, oh, all the peer pressure, all the kids are doing it. All the kids are wearing their pants down below their crotch. Oh, is that really cool? I guess if that's all you're surrounded by. But maybe you ought to get the hell out of that environment. Here's another litmus test, real quick way to tell if you should trust the adults surrounding you. Is everyone around you poor and fucked up? Is your mom poor? Is your dad not around? Where is your dad in jail? Is your mom dependent on government aid and she's going to kick you out of the house if you don't stay with her because she needs more Section 8 housing? That's true story 3 times now with Asshole Consulting. Is your sister pregnant at 17? Is she poor? Are your uncles poor? Are your cousins poor? Are you poor? All right. Don't trust anyone in that environment. You know what? Because they're not good at not being poor. I'm not saying you got to be rich. You ain't all got to be 50 Cent or if he's even around. But I don't care what advice poor people, unless their advice is, I did it wrong, don't do it my way. Okay, then that's good because they admitted they're wrong, which is a Herculean thing. And then, yeah, you don't want to do that. But if it's whatever the liberal white woman tells you, which is it's the evil fill-in boogeyman here, patriarchy, white man, capitalism, boobity boo. Yeah, because socialism has really worked well for poor people, huh? Right? Socialism really has helped out the black community, hasn't it? You want socialism? Go take a look at an Indian reservation. Go visit the American Indian. See how socialism is working for them. And like I said, this is going to fall on deaf ears of people who like lined up to suck Jesse Jackson's dick. Now they got like a sliver, like, oh, what is that? Oh, what is that? It's a pin. No, it's just Jackson's dick. It's so small, it pokes you. And Oprah, all the women listening to her, like, oh, the fat woman said things that I like to hear. Here's billions of dollars. There's a lesson for you. You want to know who to take advice from? Jesse Jackson and Oprah on business. What should you do? Lie to everyone, make money. Sell them a book, sell them bullshit. They're not poor. Jesse Jackson's over in Hyde Park. I think, no, Oprah's not in Hyde Park. They're both Chicago. No, I'm sorry. Obama was Hyde Park. Where was Jesse Jackson? Was he New York or Chicago too? It doesn't matter. Point is, don't listen to their advice. Do what they do, though. Sell people lies, make money. There you go. So that's it. Just please don't listen to the liberal white woman, okay? Okay, they haven't helped one person yet. You don't have to listen to the angry Cappy, but maybe go get Bachelor Pad Economics, read through that. Get the Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty. That's another book, obviously intended to help out. And Latinos like, is that for me? Yeah, kind of, yeah. Some slight cultural differences, but the principles are generally the same. And then there's the 3 rules. Don't major in stupid shit. What was the other one? Don't commit crime and don't have kids you can't afford. And then maybe addendum, consider joining the military and consider getting a vasectomy. But by God, there's almost got to be a 4th rule there. If everyone around you has really shitty lives, don't take advice from them. I already saw Samurai Champloo. It was good. It wasn't as good as Cowboy Bebop, but it was good. Same director. The Black Channel, $10. How do you think, as you say, all empires fall? What do you see with the U.S. world now with mass poverty, inflation? What do you think? Don't quote me. Globally, it's hard to say globally because there's a lot more economies, and China and Asia are different than the U.S. But generally, the West, we've produced so much, and now we're in like very dying grasp of squeezing whatever's left out of the original economy we had through borrowing money and the world's reserve currency. Literally the only thing saving us right now is that all the other major economies are printing off even more money. So that's kind of sustaining us. But we used to pay cash for things. Then in the 80s, we borrowed. You especially saw that with families, 80s and 90s abroad. And now we're just printing off money. So I think there's going to be inflation. That doesn't mean there's going to be less production or lower standards of living. It's just the arbitrary numbers. The currency per amount of GDP produced will go up. What I'm worried about is the labor pool, not the Great Resignation. I think it was high time people said, no, we're not working unless you pay us a living wage, because why would we work? So I like to see that. I'm more worried that we've educated 2 generations of useless people that have no skills. I don't mean like high-end engineers or programmers or doctors. I mean like plumbers, CDL, linemen, civil engineers, people who can make dams and provide us with clean water. So I'm more afraid that you're not going to see the production keep up. I'm about to stop going out to eat because the quality of the food has gone down so much. It's way overpriced, and more so that I when I go out, I do that to outsource food preparation. And now the food is so poor and it's such a pain in the ass, and people are such dumbasses. I'm like, by the time I get that meal, I can literally make myself a steak, literally make myself a good chicken. And I'm not that good. I just really very simple. If it's a grill, I can do it. But I don't think we're not at mass poverty yet. We do have inflation. So he thinks, as you say, and yeah, I mean, the empires will fail, but as long as, the Roman Empire could fuck with its currency, it was still the Roman Empire. They still had the centurions. They still had the world's largest army. So they didn't collapse until they internally collapsed, which inevitably did, because everyone was bred in circuses, and who was making all their food? The Egyptians and all the other slaves they happen to have. So it depends on your age, Black Channel, but I think I may not see it. You might if you're younger than me, where there just isn't enough producers and there's too many parasites. There's not enough tradesmen to keep the infrastructure up. And if you really want to worry about something, worry about the average age of a farmer. Oh, every young person wants to go become a YouTube internet celebrity and personality. Yeah, but no one wants to go learn how to drive a combine or program. You don't even drive them no more. You program them to do satellite. So I think you're going to see Russia. China's in bad shape. Russia, Slovakia, but they're not big enough to counter a global. Russia's not that big. Former Soviet bloc ain't that big. India might, but they're pretty corrupt. but they got the people, they have the intellectual capital, they got a lot of smart people over there, a lot of engineers, obviously, and programmer types. They could, but there's a lot of cultural things. Sam Whiskey, $10. Every time a bell rings, the liberal arts majors gets knocked up with student loan debt. And it was forced on them by the patriarchy. The white man made her take out the $100,000 in student loans. Oh, for our minority brothers, particularly Latino and Black gentlemen, when your sisters all go to law school because they're gonna, they go to a third-tier law school that's in a strip mall and they're paying $300,000 in debt because they're gonna fight, system things and social justice. That's what they're gonna, and then they're totally fucked. All right, but they have their master's. Well, they have technically a Juris Doctorate, so they have a doctoral degree. They're gonna lord their degree over you, acting like they know more, and you should listen to them. But then you ask, "Hey, ain't you $350,000?" That would be another thing where logic would come in, like, "Yeah, but you're $350,000 in debt, and you need the government to bail you out. Why should I listen to you? Because I have a law degree." No, that don't make sense. That's what liberal white women will tell you. She got a master's degree. You should listen to her. She educated. Have you know here, perfect example. They're just pushing everyone. They're like, oh my God, men aren't going to school as much as girls. Thank God. Do you know 80% of people, both men and women, major in stupid shit? Only 20% major in something worthwhile? That's a good sign. That's progress for men. What did liberal white women say? You gotta go to college. You gotta master's preferred. Matt Erickson, $2. What channel hosted Rule Zero yesterday? I think they took off from Rule Zero. we had a bye week. I was busy working on my new Teachable. Here we go. For all the young men. Doesn't matter, rate, whatever. And young lady, poor people. Are you poor? Here, listen to it. New class out on Teachable. It's called Achieving Financial Excellence, the most direct route out of poverty. I put it together. I've tried to figure out, okay, what's the most quickest way to get out of poverty? Not relying on liberal white women to go take other people's money and give you 5 cents on the dollar. And the pat on the head, it's okay, you're oppressed. La, 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 la. You do know they live in fancy suburbs and their husbands pay for everything, right? You do know that, right? They didn't bail themselves out of the student loans. Either the government or somebody else did, parents, whatever. You know that, right? They don't know how to support themselves. Black Lagoon. But anyway, so that course, seminar, whatever you want to call it, it's on Teach. You could go to Cleary School of Economic Philosophy. Search that. You'll land there. Why'd you name it that? Are you arrogant and cocky? Well, yes, but I had to name it something, so that's why I named it. But you can find that. It's only $99, which I know might be a lot, but I'll tell you that that's better than all. I guarantee you that class, it's 2.5 hours long on the internet, is more valuable than all the fucking bullshit you had K through 12 education. Guarantee you. And the reason why is because you didn't learn jack fuck all shit in K through 12. Just like, you learn what the liberal white women wanted you to learn. Maybe they taught you how to do la 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 la. You just bounce off to the suburbs. You watch Black Lagoon. I tried until it became pedophilia, and that grossed me out. That was dark. The two little assassin kids, that was nope. Couldn't do it after that. Couldn't do it. It was good, but it was too dark, way too dark. Matt Erickson, $2. Ever thought of hiring a helper? RI would be good. No, because there's no help. I will hire a specialist. Like I would consider hiring Blake, who works over at Terrence Pop's outfit. But I'm good enough. I'm a one-man show. I got everything dialed in. To find admin it's a waste of time. It is a waste of time. In the olden times, Matt, if I had an admin, I could probably triple my work. I could triple a lot more things. But it's just by the time you find someone that has their head out of their fucking ass, you've wasted at least 40 hours. I want to have like kind of a playboy. Hang on again. There. A Playboy, like quarterly publication, all my blog works, and get a model would have been very cool. Like, and it wouldn't be rated R or anything. It'd be like PG-13 lingerie, bikini. Can't find girls to show up. I have a comic book that's been waiting for 5 years to have an artist that knows how to fucking show up and do his fucking job. No, it's not going to happen. Here's another thing for anyone who's poor. Show up on time, do the fucking job, and do it sober. You'd be amazed. Dude, it's never been this good to go find a job. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Sam Whiskey, $2. America is now a second world. Yeah, it's coming there. There's very few first world countries, though. Eric Powell, $5. Got into a major argument with the liberal. Oh, Eric, why did you not? Whose fault is that, Eric? Why did you? I'm busy. Stop fucking calling. Not you, Eric. Just someone didn't take the hint the first time I hung up. See? Kathy, can you find anyone that follows instructions? No, you can't. Major argument with the liberal white woman a couple weeks. What? Wait. Okay, look. You might as well have argued with this mouse. Okay? This mouse here, Eric. Why didn't you just argue with this mouse? You would have had the same effect. I do mean this. There was no brain in that woman's skull. I mean, there was a brain. It kept our body alive, but that's a robot. I mean, a genuine NPC. Liberal white woman a couple weeks ago. It didn't go well. Now I have to sue her for malpractice. Malpractice. Good. Good luck to you, Eric. I hope you win. By gum, by howdy. Matt Baker, 87, 10 Canadian bucks. Was married to a liberal white woman. Got red pilled a few years ago and tried to bring her along for the ride. Didn't happen. I have a buddy. Yeah, follow your stuff a lot. I knew him from like 25 years ago. Like, yeah, I followed your stuff. Married a liberal girl. You were right. Oh, was I? Really? Rusty Fuel, $5. Have you read The Richest Man in Babylon? No. I know the basic premise. Great basic financial advice from the ancients. Yes, there's going to be some of the similar lessons pulled from that class. All right, I think I got all the super chats here. I got to make a call. This is just a random one. Just, I don't know, share this with a buddy, or just maybe convey the concept. If the liberal white woman has her fangs into your buddy, oh, he's a white guy, you can't listen to him. Oh, no. Like, you could lie, or not lie. You could, like, oh yeah, you could trust me. I'm not that guy on the internet. How do we cancel women's, etc.? How do we cancel women's, etc.? What are you talking about? I care not to cancel anything. I want people to have freedom of speech, freedom of creation, freedom of everything. I don't have to consume it, though. All right. See you guys later. Toodles.